What happens when a statute forged to punish World War I traitors suddenly has a 21st century prince in its crosshairs? 100+ years ago, the Titles Deprivation Act of 1917 yanked peerages from nobles who sided with the Kaiser. It was meant to be a once-in-a-generation weapon, so blunt and final that no Windsor ever expected to feel its edge. Fast forward to May 2nd, 2025. 3 senior judges told Prince Harry that his powerful and moving arguments were frankly meaningless in law. Within hours, headlines screamed about a £700,000 public bill for a fight Harry had just lost, and phones in Westminster lit up with one question: if the Duke won't respect the crown, why should the crown protect the Duke? By nightfall, petitions exploded, talk show monologues turned scathing, and the phrase "Mr. Harry Windsor" trended worldwide. In the space of a single news cycle, a court ruling morphed into a full-blown royal reckoning. The man once styled His Royal Highness could wake up as a private citizen, stripped of title, status, and the mystique that powers a multi-million-dollar brand. And that raises the question we'll chase through the next 8 beats of this story. When a prince trades duty for a microphone, who gets the final word? Family, Parliament, or the furious public? May 2025, when 3 grim-faced judges filed into court 4 of the Royal Courts of Justice. Minutes later, they stamped final on Prince Harry's 5-year crusade to make British taxpayers bankroll his police detail. Master of the rolls, Sir Geoffrey Vos read the ruling. Harry's sense of grievance, however powerful and moving, was not a legal argument. Government lawyers quietly confirmed their bill, about £656,000, bringing the public's running tab on Harry's security lawsuits to roughly £700,000 and counting. By lunchtime, tabloids were splashing "your taxes," his fight across every front page. Harry's response came fast and raw. His voice cracked as he called the decision devastating and warned he could no longer bring his family home safely. Viewers didn't hear contrition. They heard a prince demanding perks he'd publicly tossed aside. Social feeds lit up with fury. "Pay your own bills, mate!" While phone-ins on LBC ran hot with callers asking why a California millionaire needed their council tax pennies, that single broadcast did something years of palace briefings hadn't. It flipped the national mood from weary to fed up. Petitions to strip the Sussex titles doubled overnight. MPs began quoting a dusty wartime law most Britons had never heard of, and Westminster reporters smelled blood in the water. The courtroom ruling might have been the spark, but the wildfire is being fed by ordinary Brits with laptops and a grudge. Within 48 hours of Harry's response, a page titled "Strip Prince Harry and Meghan Markle of the Duke and Duchess of Sussex titles" blew past the 6-figure mark, 100,000 signatures and climbing. It's the largest anti-royal petition since the 1990s, and the comments read like a nationwide eye roll. "He's not our Duke, he's Netflix's." Pollsters caught the same mood. A Snap Express survey of 4,500 readers delivered a brutal verdict. 97% want King Charles to yank Harry's Duke of Sussex style immediately. A broader Find Out Now poll, weighted to the UK electorate, found 64% of voters back Parliament if it moves to strip the Sussex's HRH status altogether. Even the usually pro-Sussex younger demo is wobbling. TikTok polls show a 20-point swing since the security bill fallout. And it's not just clicktivism. In Chichester's pedestrian lanes, handmade placards read "No more free rides," while a Brighton cafe has quietly renamed its strawberry scone the Just Harry Jam Roll. Local irony aside, the message is clear. The very county that gave Harry his title feels duped. Online, 3 hashtags dominate the UK trending bar: #JustHarry, #StripTheTitles, #Mr. Windsor. Meme-smiths splice World War I propaganda posters with Montecito drone shots. Buckingham Palace looks like a postcard after dark. Floodlit facade, crimson sentries, nothing to see here. But insiders swear the quiet is choreographed. King Charles, newly cautious after a year of health scares, has chosen the still life strategy. Let Parliament brandish the blade so his own hands stay clean. The same instinct that once had his mother murmur "step back and step down" in 2020 now holds him in resolute neutrality. The vacuum he leaves is instantly filled by his heir. Prince William, long the dutiful diplomat, is hardening into something sharper. Leaked briefings, too consistent to be coincidence, say he's already penciled a first-week decree for the day he becomes king. Goodbye to HRH for the California branch. Goodbye to the Sussex peerage if Parliament doesn't swing first. Courtiers describe him as icily pragmatic, convinced that every fresh Netflix confessional stains the institution he'll inherit. Staffers in the royal corridors feel the shift like a weather change. Power, once diffused between father and son, now pools in William's corner. Charles's silence grants cover, while Westminster's debate supplies the knife. One aide joked that the king has discovered the genius of constitutional monarchy. Stay above the storm, and the storm does your housekeeping. Thus, the stage is set. A monarch who rules by restraint, an heir who prepares to sever, and an ex-prince pacing Montecito with lawyers on speed dial. When the vote finally arrives, Charles can nod gravely, the will of Parliament, while William stores the precedent for a future reign. It's royal chess in slow motion, and every silent move echoes louder than a public speech. Because in this family, vengeance rarely comes with fireworks, it comes with a velvet curtsy and a vanished title. Quiet enough to sound like tradition, sharp enough to feel like a clean cut. The courtroom gavel had barely cooled when Montecito sources painted a jittery scene. Harry, devastated by the security defeat, stalking the corridors of his $14 million mansion and venting that the decision was a calculated snub from London. Within hours, aides were on conference calls with London silk barristers, probing whether the century-old Titles Deprivation Act could really scythe off a dukedom, or whether some dusty constitutional loophole might keep the Sussex shield intact. One insider quipped to The Guardian that Harry was even mulling a surname switch to Spencer if Parliament went nuclear, a sign of just how existential the threat now feels. Meghan's response was the opposite of legalese. She reached for branding. On Jamie Kern-Lima's podcast, a photo flashed of a glossy food hamper topped with a card that read, "With the compliments of HRH, the Duchess of Sussex." Cue instant firestorm. The couple had promised Queen Elizabeth they'd mothball HRH for anything commercial. Commentators called it the jam jar own goal that proved the Duchess still trades on the monogram she once disavowed. If the British papers were brutal, American comedy went feral. 3 weeks after the ruling, Saturday Night Live's Weekend Update mocked the couple as the first influencers to lose blue check status in real life, to roaring audience cheers. Late-night ratings spiked, so did Hollywood eye rolls. A February industry roundtable leaked to news.com.au had execs grumbling about Sussex fatigue and warning that without the royal aura, Netflix renewal odds slump by 30%, all of which leaves the Sussex playbook looking frantic. Lawyers hunt for precedent, PR teams spin contrition, and a lifestyle brand once called American Riviera Orchard rebrands again as ever. A title critics say feels more like a wish than a strategy. When a royal scandal jumps borders, the fallout ricochets through former empire capitals, none louder than Nigeria. In May 2024, Harry and Meghan's 3-day soft power tour whipped up headlines about heritage and healing. Then curdled, critics blasted the couple for using military wounded photo ops to push their Netflix brand, and a viral first post explainer accused Meghan of turning ancestry into accessory. 1 year later, officials quietly denied a Sussex request for a return visit, calling the timing inappropriate. That rejection matters because Nigeria isn't just another flag pin on Harry's Invictus map. It's the Commonwealth's largest democracy. Diplomatic insiders warn that if Abuja feels exploited, Ottawa, Canberra, and even Bridgetown won't roll out red carpets either. The Sussex brand was built on the global goodwill that comes with a dukedom. Strip the title indoors marked state invite swing shut. Meanwhile, across the Atlantic, Harry and Meghan secretly weighed switching the family surname to Spencer after UK passport applications for Archie and Lilibet stalled for 6 months. Lawyers believed bureaucrats were balking at including HRH on the documents, proof that the title tug-of-war now tangles the kids' paperwork too. Put together, the Nigeria rebuff and the passport saga reveal a bleak calculus. Without Duke of Sussex printed in gold, Harry's soft power halo dims, and the children's very identities sit in administrative limbo. Suddenly, the fight over a centuries-old statute isn't just about pride. It's about visas, diplomatic invites, and the future surnames of a bloodline once destined for balcony appearances. If Westminster decides to wield the century-old Titles Deprivation Act 1917, the change is instant and absolute. The wording of the statute is blunt. All privileges and all rights to any dignity or title shall cease and determine. In plain English, His Royal Highness the Duke of Sussex would become Mr. Harry Windsor, with no precedence at state events, no diplomatic courtesies, and no monogrammed H&M crest to license on stationery or streaming splash screens. That lost styling would drag Harry's soft power halo down with it. Commonwealth capitals tend to follow London's lead. Without a dukedom, high-profile invitations dry up. So do the flattering headlines that come with them. In the commercial world, the royal gloss underpins the couple's biggest contracts. Netflix's original 5-year deal, loudly trumpeted as worth up to $100 million, was signed when Harry and Meghan could still market themselves as working royals in exile. Industry analysts quoted by Forbes now warn that stripping the title could shave a third off any renewal fee because the inside Buckingham mystique is exactly what the streamer paid for. Even the children feel the shockwave. Courtesy styles such as Prince Archie flow from their father's peerage. If the Sussex dukedom disappears, those mini titles vanish unless the crown issues brand new letters patent. Debrett's, the authority on royal protocol, notes that only a successor may petition to get it back, and only after years have passed. Strip away the coronets, and what's left is a high-income influencer brand, still wealthy, still famous, but robbed of the ancient aura that lets a memoir crash the bestseller list, or a Netflix special conquer the algorithm. Titles open doors, fatten contracts, and turbocharge search rankings. Without them, the Sussex enterprise becomes just another celebrity startup battling for attention in an overcrowded market. The stakes, in short, are structural, not symbolic, and once Parliament drops the hammer, there is no rewind button. The gears of Westminster are still turning, the palace corridors are still humming, and Montecito lights are still burning long past midnight. Yet the outcome may hinge on voices far beyond those walls. A wartime statute, a family feud, and a global fan base have collided into a single high-stakes countdown. If Parliament votes yes, the Duke of Sussex becomes Mr. Harry Windsor in the stroke of a pen, and centuries of royal protocol snap into the digital age. Think about what we've just traced. A routine security lawsuit that detonated public patience, a century-old law revived like an antique sword, petitions snowballing into political capital, a palace choosing silence, while Hollywood executives whisper brand fatigue. Nigeria says no to a goodwill tour, Netflix accountants run scenarios, and even Archie's passport paperwork is stuck in limbo. Strip away the velvet and the veneer, and this is a live experiment in power. Who owns a title? The bloodline, the legislature, or the crowd with the hashtags? If Westminster swings the axe, history won't quietly file it under administrative, it will roar across talk shows, algorithms, and school curricula as the moment celebrity finally hit a wall of constitutional granite. But here's the twist. Titles can vanish overnight, yet narratives rarely do. Harry could double down as the exile prince who lost everything for love, or he could fade into a garden of California podcasts, still wealthy, but no longer magnetic. The monarchy, for its part, will claim a cleaner line of succession, unless the public decides the move looked petty and turns its critique on the crown. So, we arrive at the cliff edge with three forces tugging the rope: Parliament's authority, the palace's tradition, and the public's unpredictable glare. Who gets the final word? A late-night vote in the House of Lords, a king's silent signature, or a million more clicks on a petition that says, enough? That answer is still unwritten, and you're part of it. Drop your prediction below. Will Harry wake up as Mr. Windsor, or will Parliament blink? Hit subscribe and ring the bell so you don't miss the moment the vote lands. Because when centuries of protocol meet the speed of social media, the next twist always comes faster than anyone expects.